Good morning, lovelies. Happy hump day. Let's talk about Joseph. Jesus, coffee. So going through, reading through the Bible in a year, hitting the back of Genesis, and brings me to one of my favorite characters in the Bible. A man with amazing faith an amazing perseverance. And you'll see as I walk through and unpack his story over the next couple of days, you'll see that his perseverance is amazing and how what God does in his life is amazing. So it's Joseph. So Joseph, son of Jacob, who God renames Israel, when he's 17, he was born very late in Jacob's life. So Joseph, when he was 17, God shows him this dream, and he's got, 11 brothers. So God shows him this amazing dream that his sheaf stands up taller, and his brothers' sheaves, as they're, out in the field, bow down to his sheaf. And he goes and tells his father and his brothers of this, and his brothers get very angry with him. I mean, first of all, he had brought a bad report of his brothers when he was young back to his father, and his father appreciated that and made him a multicolored tunic. You guys are probably familiar with the Joseph and the Technicolor tunic. He made him a very vibrant tunic, and his brothers didn't have that. So his brothers naturally, he's the favorite. We don't like him. He's the favorite. He's the suck up. So now comes his dream, and Joseph had been blessed by God and gifted to be able to interpret dreams. So now his brothers really don't like him, and they just can't stand him. Good morning, Felipe. What's up, my brother? So he has a second dream. And in the second dream, it's the moon and the stars bow to Joseph. And he tells his father, and his father rebukes him, saying, "Are your mother and I and your brothers going to bow down to you?" And then he tells his brothers, and his brothers really hate him. And they want to kill him. So they just do not like him. So they're out tending to the flock, because they're shepherds. They're out tending to the flock. And Jacob sends Joseph to go check on his brothers. And he goes and checks on where they would have been, only they weren't there. So he stops and talks to a man, and he's like, "Nope, they're over here." They weren't in Shechem, they went to Dothan. So he goes to Dothan to go check on his brothers, and as he's approaching his brothers see him off in the distance, and they start plotting his death. They're like, "Yeah, we're going to kill him, and how we're going to do it, and we'll throw him in the cistern, and we'll make it look like a ferocious animal tore him apart." And yeah, they got his death. And then Reuben, his brother's like, no, we don't want his blood on our hands. Let's throw him in the cistern and leave him there, but let's not kill him. So God working in Reuben's heart to protect Joseph. So Joseph gets there, and they throw him in the cistern, and then they're like, these Midianites are coming in a caravan, and they're traders. And his brother comes up with the idea of, let's sell him into slavery. So they sell him into slavery, and they take his tunic. They kill a goat, and they put the blood all over the tunic, and they bring the tunic to the father. Well, now Joseph is now on his way and owned by the Midianites, going to Egypt, where he ultimately becomes, he's sold into slavery, and he becomes Potiphar. He becomes Potiphar's servant, who Potiphar is a captain of the guard for the Pharaoh. So this poor guy, his brothers can't stand him, sell him into slavery, and the story gets even better because he's a strapping, good-looking, handsome fellow. Well, Potiphar, when he's not home, Potiphar's wife is trying to grope all over Joseph. And Joseph's like, look, your husband put me in charge over all in the house, including you. But I'm not going to dishonor my master. So she pawed after him and kept telling him, come lay with me, come lay with me. And Joseph's like, no, I'm not doing this. Well, one day when Potiphar's wife had figured that there was no other servants in the house, she pawed after him and told him, come lay with me. And he said no. And she snatched onto his clothes, and he took them off and ran out of the house and fled the house. Well, you see this guy can't catch a break. He gets sold into slavery, becomes a servant to Potiphar, and then Potiphar's wife is trying to grope him, and so she goes to Potiphar and lies to Potiphar, that saying that he had come and was trying to go into her, and because she screamed, he took off his clothes and fled. So now he gets thrown in prison. This guy can't catch a break. But all the while, stayed faithful to God and trusted God through everything. Stayed faithful and trusted in God. So while he's in there, he meets two of Pharaoh's officials, two of Pharaoh's servants, the cupbearer and a baker. And they both have dreams while they're in there. And they don't know how to interpret the dreams. So they come to Joseph, and God's gifted him with the ability to interpret their dreams. So he tells them the dreams, and those dreams come to pass exactly as Joseph had interpreted them. The cupbearer was lifted up and returned to his position, and the baker was not. He was hanged and killed. So both of those dreams came to pass as interpreted. So we'll continue through Joseph tomorrow, and we'll get through his what God does for him and with him, because God always keeps him protected throughout all of the trials that happen in his life. The consistent is God's always working for his good along the while. Not saying bad things don't happen to him, just like you heard me say yesterday. God works all things for our good, for those that love him and are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Not saying bad things don't happen, guys, because they do happen. Evil things do happen to us, but God works it for our good and for his glory. So even in the hard, just like I said yesterday, he's a working God. He's always working. Matter of fact, there's a great song, Waymaker, which I'll post. Even when I don't see it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop. You never stop working. And he never stops working in Joseph's life. And we'll dig through it a little bit more tomorrow, and we'll get into how God works through while he's imprisoned for what he didn't do to Potiphar's wife. But somebody's always working and plotting against him and God turns everything for good. And in all of this, Joseph never blasphemed and asks God, what's going on? Where are you? What is happening here? Like, I'm faithful and you consistently let these bad things happen to me. But you'll see what happens, and ultimately how God turns everything for his good. And amazing. Probably one of my favorite stories in the Bible. Perseverance, trial, faith, unyielding faith. Never stop lifting God's name. Never stopped blessing God's name. Never stopped worshiping him, regardless of the perseverance and the trial. So I'll post a link to Waymaker, and we'll talk about some more of Joseph tomorrow. I love you guys. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Got a bunch of errands to run today. Got a like an off day.